You can see the black areas right there, right? That is succulent rot. And then dry rot is often, you see how this part of the stem here is really kind of wider and chubbier, and then the rest of it kind of got skinnier. Hi everyone, it's Christine.
Hi everyone, my name is Nell.
And that's my daughter. Make sure you say hi to her in the comments down below because she loves that. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about one of my Echeveria Lauis over here. Actually, this, believe it or not, actually has succumbed to rot. You can't tell just by looking at it like this. That's why I couldn't tell until one of my other Lauis that I unboxed in episodes number 60. I noticed that it wasn't really growing, and I have cut all the rot, and this is pretty much what's left of it, at least of the stem that I don't think has any more rot. So hopefully this will live and root again. More of a dry rot, not so much like the normal mushy overwatering kind of rot that we're used to. So normally what that means is there was probably already rot in the stem when I had gotten them. I just didn't know because they were kept extremely dry, and that actually slows rot down in the stem, but then you wouldn't really notice until it's too late. Now if you look down here, you can see the dark spots right there. I didn't see that until I actually removed the leaves that were on there. You can see the black areas right there, right? That is succulent rot. And then dry rot is often, you see how this part of the stem here is really kind of wider and chubbier, and then the rest of it kind of got skinnier. Dry rot sort of presents itself as not so much the mushy, watery, or like black softening stem that we're used to. It normally looks more like the stem is kind of drying out and a little bit miscolored, and then you really only see that there is damage. There, let me put it up close. You really only see that there is damage when you remove the leaves, or once you notice that the edges of these leaves over here have started to turn black. That usually indicates succulent rot. And I really couldn't tell with this one because there were leaves all the way down here. And until I removed them, I didn't know that something was already happening. So look at all of that. At this point, I mean, this was about this big, guys. Maybe like this big. I mean, at this point, all we can do is cut and try to see how much of the stem is left and hopefully not affected by rot. It obviously didn't travel too fast because I kept the soil dry and I kept the plant dry, but it still did continue rotting. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this so I can show you guys the inside of the stem. So here's my clean shears, and I am going to go ahead and cut. The rot has already traveled up, so I am going to cut right there, and you see it's already all the way in there. Let me see that little piece there.
Good job, Mom.
And there is all that rot. It has obviously started from the inside of the stem, or maybe in the roots. I didn't even know that it was happening. And I mean, had I known, had I seen any signs that it was actually rotting, I would have cut right away, but I didn't know. It was just completely dry. The leaves were fine. They were still nice and firm, and there was no mushiness, like I said, because I was still really in the process of rooting these guys. It looks like it hasn't gotten to this leaf yet, so we are going to try and propagate that leaf. I need to remove another. Okay, see that? When you guys have succulent rot, guys, most of the time when you see black right there, that normally means that the leaf is no longer viable. You cannot propagate this, but there is no harm in trying because it's still so chubby. Most likely after a few days this will start to turn black over here, and then you would know that it's time to throw it away. But we can try anyway, but I do know that that's not gonna grow. And then I'm gonna remove this. There is a little bit of dark right there, but there just might be a chance, hopefully. I mean, it looks like the only hope I have for this one really, guys, is to propagate any leaves that are still healthy. And that one looks okay. But you know, sometimes succulent rot can mean a whole bunch of new babies, right? I mean, it's not always, it is a bad thing, but sometimes it can turn out to be a good thing. I cut again and there is still rot on this side, so let me remove this. It, to me, honestly, it has gone way too far up the stem for me to be able to save it, but there is no harm, like I said, in trying. Look at that. I'm already right at the center. So let me try cutting again. Okay, so that looks like I've cut all the rot off. That is pretty much all that I have left. It looks, they look the same. See, this one is actually just a little bit bigger. Seems like there's no rot left, but I honestly will not know until later. If this does start to grow new roots after a few weeks, then I'll still have these two Lauis. I just kind of have to start over. But I also have all these leaves where I can propagate new Lauis from. And let me just show you the other three that are still healthy. Here are my other three Lauis that we unboxed in episode number 60. If you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and try to watch that so you can see how they looked when I first got them. They have also shed most of the leaves that were damaged. And you can see there are drying leaves down here. I have watered these maybe twice since unboxing because they were needing the water, and they have grown since. They shed the bottom leaves, the bottom damaged leaves anyway. And then here's a closer look. Look at how beautiful this Laui is and how big she has gotten. So those two Lauis that rotted that I was showing you guys, okay, so the leaves were like all the way down here like this, and it was really hard for me to peek in and see the stem. That's why I pretty much couldn't tell if they were rotting, but this one hopefully turns out to be just fine. And here is another Laui. This one has gotten smaller because it also did have a lot of sunburn on its leaves, but it seems to be growing pretty well now. I'm not too worried about this one because I could actually see the stem. There, see, this is a Laui that has absolutely nothing wrong with it. Remember how I told you dry rot, it presents itself as like the stem kind of starts to get dehydrated, and then later on under those leaves you're gonna see dark areas where it's actually rotting. This is a completely healthy stem, and hopefully it stays that way. Oh, okay, this one hasn't really even rooted yet. See how I just lifted that? This one is a little bit more stressed. See, I kind of worry when they're stressed because that is kind of what happened to these. They started turning more of a pink instead of like a green. See, there's a difference. There's just a difference in color to the Laui that had something wrong with it and a Laui that's completely healthy. They will show stress colors and you're gonna think, oh, they're so nice, they're stressing. Sometimes that's not a good thing if you don't know that they're already rotting. Now this one I have checked the stem. It looks like everything is okay down there. The leaves are fine as well. I mean, what was scary about these rotting Lauis is I had absolutely no mushy leaves. Not one mushy watery leaf, okay, like I said, because it was kept dry. They kind of just started drying out, and I thought, well, because it's rooting, it's normal for them to lose bottom leaves and dry out. That's what happens. And then once they have roots and I water them, then they'll be okay. But well, here it is. Rotting Laui. What do I do with the Lauis that I just cut, right? Well, I really do when I'm not sure about what's happening to them, like this one is, I just kind of place them right on top of the soil like that. This has already calloused up because I cut this about 2 days ago. That has already calloused up, and I'm not even gonna bury it in the soil, guys. I'm just gonna place it right there on top of dry soil and put it under my grow lights, just kind of off to the side. This one is still fresh, but it's okay. I'm just gonna place it right there as well, and then just put these leaves that I'm trying to propagate right on top of the soil, and hopefully they grow new Lauis. Now you're gonna want to keep this very dry. These have no roots. These need to grow babies, so they don't need any water anytime soon anyway, and they are really thick and they are still full of water. So you just place them on top of dry soil like that. Leave them in an area where they will not get wet by the rain if you are placing them outside, or you can place them by a window outdoors, or like me, if you have grow lights, I just place them towards the side of my grow lights where they will kind of get indirect light but really bright light. This encourages growth in the leaves and root growth in your basically succulent cutting there. So that's basically how you save them. And if these Lauis do grow babies, these leaves, I will have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 new Lauis, 14, 15 because of these two if they all live, and I really hope they do. So I just wanted to share this video with you guys. I haven't really seen any rotting Laui videos and how to save them, and this is definitely a first time for me. It is not something that you would want to happen, but unfortunately for all of us succulent growers, one day we will all have to deal with succulent rot, and I hope that you guys don't have to deal with it, at least as far as Lauis, because they're not cheap. They're not easy to find, and it's not easy to find beautiful big ones like this. So I hope this video helped you guys somehow. I wanted to make sure that I share it with you. Again, this is Christine from These Succulent Buddies. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.
Bye. Have a wonderful day.